Eileo guys, and welcome back. In today's video we have the newest Nat 5 to our lovely MSO crew here. We have baby girl Glinda. So without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. But anyways, we have Fire Glinda, who's a balance type, and yeah, let's check out her stats. So she's coming in with 32k HP, 2.9k attack, and then 2.9k defense as well. And this one, of course, is the fire type. Very interesting design on her. I'm not sure what else that she can do because I obviously just loaded up the game here. But let's go and take a look at her skills next. So for her variant skill, she has defensive stance, if she is variant, that is, so that's a pretty chunky lead. That's very useful, so she does have a good lead. So if you get her variant, feel free to put that variant lead to use. But for her 3-star skill, she has SP Siphon, which obviously siphons the enemy SP by 30%. And then for the 5-star skill, she has Full Buff Breaker, which grants a 70% chance to dispel all enemies' enhancements, including shields and immunity. So immediately what I'm thinking with this is definitely a crowd control unit. This is definitely a PvP unit because SP Siphon means that you can kind of control if they can get their 5-star skill off or not. And then for the 5-star skill Buff Breaker, well, if they have shields and immunity up, if you can pop this up and like the whole team has shields or whatever, you can hopefully take that down with a 70% chance. So very interesting. I think this isn't like super duper meta changing in itself, but I think this is the beginning of the shift if her skills on the other elements are quite spicy as well. But wise though, SP Siphon receives a 20% damage boost and goes up to 35%, and then Buff Breaker also receives a 20% damage boost and it goes up to 80%. I wouldn't say so far, even though I just started the video, that this is worth booking up. Just because there's probably other better Glindas out there, but I think it's a start, especially if a player lacks any type of SP Siphon Mon, even if you lack like Dark Sandray for example. I think this is a good kind of intro to see how things work, and even if you only kept her at Evo 2 to feed her into something else in the future, you could always test this out to see, you know, do I need full Buff Breaker with where I'm at in PvP? Is that a really good idea? And the SP Siphon is super handy as well. I mean, it's not like Dark Merlin where he has SP Siphon and Stun, but with the way things are going right now with the whole shield spam, and Mons being able to get their shields up very quickly, and then you also have immunity, this is definitely a very interesting setup. Next up though, we do have Water Glinda, who's an attacker type, and she's coming in with 27k HP, 3.8k attack, and then 2.6k defense. Okay, she has a very decent stat distribution. I want to say that it's similar to Water Valk. I could be wrong here, but I feel like it's similar with 3.8k attack stat. I think Valk is near 4k. Let me see. No, I was on the money, you guys. Wow, I was actually on the money. Her stats are very comparable to base Water Valk, which we already know can hit like a butt cheek on a stick. But I'm surprised, dude. Your boy's out here gaming, bro. But anyways, let's take a look at her skills. So for her 3-star skill, she has Lethal Strike. Obviously, if we read it right here, greatly increases attack power in proportion to the target's total defense. Very great for defense aggressors, not so much HP aggressors, because, spoiler alert, HP aggressors have a whole bunch of HP and not defense, which is where Lethal Strike comes in with the defense. And then for the 5-star skill is Predator, increases damage dealt by 50%. I still think this is interesting. Maybe it's not anywhere near spicy even as the fire one in the grand scheme of things, but us having more access to other Lethal Strike Mons other than freaking Fire Jian Wuchi, and I think Light Jian Wuchi, and there is also I think Water Mirror that I can think of right at this point in time, but I'm not sure if we ever have had a Nat 5 Lethal Striker, so I think that's great. The whole Predator thing too, I'm fine with that. We don't need double Lethal Strike because what am I going to do? Hit AoE with Lethal Strike on all the other Ashramon that I'm fighting, and all but one of them are not defense aggressors? I mean, when is that going to happen? It may happen, but probably not. So I think this is an interesting kit here. I'm trying to think of where the biggest uses would be for this at. But once again, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be kind of situational with the whole Lethal Strike thing. So if you know that you're going to come up against an F-word aggressor, you can pop this bad boy out, or shall I say bad girl. Skill books though, Lethal Strike receives a 20% damage boost, and Predator receives a 25% damage boost. So, but once again, I think it's a decent mon, especially if you don't have Lethal Strike. But it's really up to you, and I didn't notice this before, but I like how her last name is Good and then Witch is like capitalized. Very interesting take here. Coming in hot after that, though, we do have Wood Glinda, who's a tank type, and she's coming in with 38k HP, 2.3k attack, and then 2.6k defense. Plenty of HP. Defense is actually okay. I'm surprised her defense isn't lower. Attack doesn't really matter, so her stat distribution is okay. I think it's perfectly fine here. Let's take a look at these skills, though. So for her 3-star skill, she has defense down, which grants an 80% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 2 turns, so she's already coming up in here debuffing. And then she also has immunity, which we know about immunity already from Scheherazade, but it's Water Scheherazade that has it, and I think Dark. But this time around, Glinda, at least Wood Glinda, has immunity. So once again already, I'm thinking this is more of a PvP type monster. Of course you could use immunity if you need it somewhere else. It's just how my brain sees things automatically. This is a PvP type monster. Even though the defense down isn't super duper spicy in itself, because I mean there's other debuffs in the game that you could apply to PvP monsters to prevent them from acting and still do some damage on them. I do think that there is some possible use here. Maybe not super duper big high usage, but I think there's some usage here. But in terms of her skill set, defense down receives a 15% damage boost, and it goes up to, what was that, 100%? But it's just, I guess it's just the defense down thing that kind of throws me off right there. I'm not sure, so I'll take your guys' vote on what you think Wood Glinda would be super duper useful at. Alright, next up though, we do have Light Glinda, who's a defender type. Hopefully they're bringing in spice here because she is a light or dark nat 5. So I'm hoping that at least one of these baby girls would be good. But Light Glinda has 33k HP, nearly 2.5k attack, and then 3.9k defense. 3.9k defense. That is smiley face gaming. I'm so far okay with these stats, but stats don't make them on. Skills make them on. And stats obviously help that mon be better, but you know, you can have amazing stats and crap skills, and congratulations, no one's going to use you. So she's coming in hot with full buff breaker for her 3-star skill, and this grants a 100% chance to dispel all enemies' enhancements, including shields and immunity. Meaning, obviously, even though it says all enemy, it's implying all enemy, not all enemies. So for her 3-star skill, you can obviously only hit one target. I just figured I would clarify for that in case you guys got confused. And then for her 5-star skill, she has resistance down, which grants 100% chance to reduce the enemy's resistance for 2 turns. This right here, yeah, this is definitely a shift in the meta for sure. Because if you think about it, you have access to a mon that can basically break shields right from the get-go in PvP. And then for the 5-star skill, we know about resistance down. There's mons like, what is it, Light Nightmare. I personally use my Light Griffin in PvP, where for the 5-star skill they have resistance down. If I pair this baby girl up with, say for instance, a Light Cupid for example, that means I can get to her resistance down fairly quickly. But basically you can just go in and obviously take off all those buffs on the enemy and basically pick them out one by one. So I think this is just incredible. Obviously it is more PvP orientated than anything else, but I think this is very, very incredible because this counters the whole people spamming their super duper nasty shields with their freaking Dark Cupids, and you have mons like Light Griffin, even Dark Marlin for example on Bastion sets. You have all these mons on these sets with immunity and shields and super ascension skills with immunity and shields, and if I can strip that away in one turn, I now have the power in my hand. So I think Light Glinda is superb. For her 3-star skill though, Buff Breaker receives a 30% damage boost, and then Defense Down receives a 20% damage boost and goes to 3 turns. Not really worth the booking. Obviously if you want to extend out her resistance down, that would be spicy, but she's not here for damage. She's here to help your other mons inflict damage on the opposite squad. So I mean, if you pull her, it's like congratulations, I don't really need to book her, so I'm good to go. So she's already pretty good to go right off the gate. There's other Astromon that we get that you kind of need to book up to get their full potential, but Light Glinda already comes out the egg ready to just rock things. Alright, and then to end things off here, we do have Dark Glinda, who's an attacker type, and she's coming in with 26k HP, 3.7k attack, and then 2.5k defense. So stat distribution wise, extremely similar to the water one, which is kind of sad because I understand that she's a dark mon, but there seems to be no discrimination against the RGBs apparently with Nat 5 stats. So I was hoping for a little bit more, but let's take a look at her skills next. So for her 3-star skill, she has Courageous Strike, which is no surprise right there. And then for her 5-star skill, she has Damage Reduction. Now, if you guys checked out one of my latest videos, which was on Amayoji, you found out that Dark Amayoji is very, very bad. The reason why Dark Amayoji is very, very bad is because her Courageous Strike skill is on her 5-star skill and not her 3-star skill. Now, does Dark Glinda compare to Dark Indra? Absolutely not. Dark Indra has Courageous Strike on both his skills. But the point of this is Dark Glinda more usable than Dark Amayoji? Yes. She's probably at least a tier above Dark Amayoji, to be honest, because with her 3-star skill being Courageous Strike, that means as long as she doesn't get SP, she can feel free to spam that 3-star skill, which is obviously going to just result in higher damage output than what Dark Amayoji can do. She's probably very, very equivalent to Dark Jian Wuqi and then also Dark Sha Wujing, though I think those guys rock like attack down and maybe defense down for the 5-star skill, while she rocks damage reduction, which I don't think damage reduction is going to be super duper useful. Not as useful as attack down, for example, but in the grand scheme of things, she's pretty much up there with the other guys, to be honest. And then skill book wise, yeah, Courageous Strike sees a 20% damage boost, and then damage reduction receives a 25% damage boost. So yeah, nothing spicy, nothing worth booking up, to be honest, unless this is the only Dark Courageous Striker that you have. But that pretty much sums up the Glinda review, you guys. She seems to be obviously just more crowd control / PvP orientated more than anything else. I can't really see a big usage for her in a PvE situation, though I could be wrong. Of course, there's the Elemental Tower of Chaos, but I obviously have stopped doing those just because I'm lazy. But feel free to leave in the comments below about what you guys think about Glinda. I think overall it's just a positive Nat 5. Not all Glindas are useful, but as I said in my previous video, 9 times out of 10, new Astromon that come out, especially Nat 5s, there's roughly about 2 out of 5 of them that are useful, and she's hit the money on this. So right before I end the video, you guys, I'll give you my take on the Glindas here. I would say number 1 is going to be Light Glinda, number 2 is going to be Dark Glinda, number 3, honestly, I'm thinking Fire Glinda, because I like that whole SP Siphon and Buff Breaker combo. I think that's very, very interesting. After that, I would say Water Glinda, and then I would end it with Wood Glinda, at least in one man's opinion, because Lethal Strike does exist, and they are giving it to more Mons. But I would say that Buff Breaker to me is more important than Lethal Strike. But once again, this is one man's opinion. Feel free to come up with your own. Feel free to leave in the comments below about what you guys think about Glinda. Are you excited for her? Are you hoping to pull her? Because I believe she's just in a natural pool of Astromon. I mean, her Primo Festival will come up next month, I want to say, but I believe she's just in a regular pool, so we'll see how things go. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.